My daughter returned from a party at my in-laws' home in tears. When I inquired about her distress, she handed me a gift-wrapped package, urging me to see for myself the reason for her sorrow. Inside, I found something utterly inappropriate for a child. Fueled by concern, I approached the police to track down the individual responsible for this unsettling gift. Their investigation revealed Ed as the culprit, stirring a significant family uproar, leading to severe consequences for him. I'm in my late 28s, as is my husband, Mateo. We work at the same firm, where I was recruited mid-career, around my mid-28s. The decision to switch jobs came after an uncomfortable encounter at a previous workplace, where my then-boss made disparaging comments about my marital status at 28. Thankfully, my current employer places value on talent and ability rather than age or gender. Mateo, who directly supervised me upon my arrival, extended his support and kindness, leading to our rapid journey down the aisle and soon after, the birth of our daughter, a third grader with a passion for reading and a heart full of kindness. Mateo's sister, Sienna, has always been a challenging character in our lives. Despite a cordial relationship with my in-laws, Sienna and I have never seen eye to eye. Her disdain for me, stemming partly from our age difference and the circumstances of our marriage, manifested in cruel remarks and baseless judgments. She ridiculed the physical changes my body underwent with age and pregnancy, hoping to sow seeds of doubt in her brother's mind about me. Yet, her attempts to belittle me only reflected her own insecurities, which became apparent when she herself had a hurried marriage due to an unexpected pregnancy. Sienna's departure to another city post-marriage brought an unexpected peace to our lives, freeing me from her persistent taunts and allowing me to concentrate on our family without the shadow of her negativity. This complex web of family dynamics, marked by moments of conflict and reconciliation, underscores the enduring strength found in understanding and compassion, even in the face of adversity. After enduring a challenging labor, I brought a beautiful baby girl into the world. Though the process was difficult, Mateo's unwavering support and encouragement gave me the strength I needed. Our hearts swelled with joy as we heard our daughter's first cry, marking the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Mateo's proud words of gratitude made the moment even more memorable, and together, we shed tears of happiness. 5 months later, Sienna welcomed a baby boy. However, her visits to our home, despite the 2-hour journey each way, often left me disheartened. She seemed to relish making unfavorable comparisons between our children, suggesting that my daughter's features were somehow less because of my age. I found myself at a loss for words, unable to engage with her petty criticisms while navigating the challenges of new parenthood. Sienna's behavior extended to taking advantage of our supplies, never bringing her own baby essentials, and yet conveniently taking ours under the guise of need. This pattern of insult followed by imposition perplexed me, but eventually her visits ceased. Mateo mentioned that her family had moved out of state due to his job's demands, bringing a temporary reprieve to our lives. However, the peace was short-lived. When our daughter began elementary school, we discovered that Sienna's son was also enrolled. Our return to the area was prompted by Mateo's job transfer, and I braced myself for potential turmoil. Despite my apprehensions, our daughter and her cousin formed a bond, with her compassionate nature shining through as she looked after him. Their cousinship flourished, even as they shared a classroom in 3rd grade. The highlight came when my daughter's talent was recognized, and her reading reflection won an award, celebrated by both our immediate and extended family. The achievement, published in the local newspaper, became a point of pride. This period coincided with a visit to the in-laws where the family gathered, possibly drawn by the news of my daughter's accomplishment. Amidst this family reunion, I pondered the complex dynamics at play, recognizing the bittersweet blend of challenges and triumphs that colored our relationship. At a rare family gathering, Sienna was visibly upset that our family became the focal point due to a simple misunderstanding over a book. Our children had exchanged books to read. Once they finished, they chose which book report to write together. My nephew took a particular liking to the book my daughter initially chose, and she graciously let him write about it. However, Sienna misconstrued the situation, accusing me of ghostwriting for my daughter. It turned out Sienna had been spreading false rumors among the school parents, suggesting I had used personal connections to influence a writing competition in favor of my daughter. The rumors distressed my daughter to the extent that she lost interest in her once cherished hobby of reading. My patience wore thin, not only with Sienna's baseless accusations towards me, but now her spiteful words were affecting my daughter too deeply. For the first time, I laid bare the entirety of Sienna's actions to Mateo, including the harsh words she hurled during my pregnancy and the times she took advantage of our hospitality. Mateo was incensed, declaring such behavior inexcusable, especially towards a pregnant woman, and likened Sienna's actions to theft. Together with his parents, Mateo confronted Sienna, who was shocked yet delighted to see them until she realized the purpose of their visit. The confrontation ended with her harboring even more resentment towards me, misinterpreting my intentions as malicious. Despite initially hoping for an apology, Sienna's calls were nothing but an outlet for her grievances. I decided to no longer entertain her negativity, directing her calls straight to voicemail, which, after a quiet month, ceased altogether. The tranquility that followed was a small solace in the midst of ongoing family discord. Initially, I assumed Sienna's silence was due to her losing interest, since I wasn't engaging with her attempts to contact me. However, I later discovered her silence was for a different reason altogether. In December, my in-laws decided to host a party for the children. A first for them, sparking my curiosity about the timing. Nonetheless, my daughter was thrilled at the invitation, her heart filled with sweet memories of past Christmas celebrations and an anticipation that her elementary school would follow suit. Unfortunately, the school had opted out, citing their stance on religious events. A decision that puzzled me given how it had morphed into a celebration beyond its religious origins. Despite some parents' reservations, I reassured my daughter that our own family celebration would more than make up for it, recalling the joy of our previous year's festivities where gift exchanges had brought smiles and laughter. Embracing the spirit, we set out to find a perfect gift within the $40 budget stipulated in the invitation. Our choice was a beloved picture book, selected with the hope of sharing its cherished stories with another. On the day of the party, my daughter, brimming with excitement, took the book and made her way to the in-laws, a journey made short by bus, but long in anticipation. I was momentarily at ease when my mother-in-law confirmed her safe arrival. However, peace was shattered minutes later when, amidst the solitude of my home office and Mateo away at work, the unexpected sound of the front door heralded something amiss. I found my daughter, a picture of despair, on our doorstep. The cause of her distress lay within a gift bag she handed to me, a bag that concealed a heartless prank. Tearing it open, I was confronted with the sight of a shredded newspaper, her own reading reflection visible among the ruins, accompanied by a menacing card inked in red, threatening our family's peace. A further look revealed a stuffed animal, once whole, now violently torn and stained with red, mimicking blood. The cruelty of the act was undeniable, far removed from the playful spirit of gift exchanges. This malicious gesture, aimed at my daughter during what should have been a joyful occasion, revealed a darkness that I had hoped would never touch our lives. When my daughter explained the situation, she revealed that Sienna was responsible for the disturbing gift. Despite a family agreement that adults would not personally prepare gifts for the children's focused party, Sienna chose to ignore this consensus. I hadn't accompanied my daughter to the party, assuming that the environment would be safe and welcoming, especially under the watchful eye of my mother-in-law, who, I believed, would have informed me if Sienna was present. This assumption proved false, highlighting Sienna's stealthy presence. Confused and seeking guidance, my daughter attempted to speak to her grandmother about the incident. But Sienna intercepted, falsely claiming the event was exclusive to children from missionary schools. This peculiar justification left us bewildered, especially since our family had no direct ties to such institutions, contrary to Sienna's insinuations. Feeling the need to protect my daughter and address the veiled hostility, I took the alarming gift to the police station, advocating for the seriousness of the threat it posed. Initially met with hesitance, my persistence paid off when a female officer recognized the gravity of our situation. She assured us she would address Sienna directly, reinforcing that threats, regardless of their source, warranted attention and action. This incident underscored a troubling realization: the reluctance of some within the law enforcement to intervene in domestic disputes unless they escalate to undeniable violence or threats. The ordeal left me contemplating the safety nets available to families navigating internal conflicts and the importance of vigilance in protecting our loved ones from harm. In the aftermath of the unsettling party incident, I was left pondering over the best ways to safeguard my daughter from unexpected emergencies. That evening, upon Mateo's return from work, I recounted the day's events, detailing the turmoil Sienna had caused. Enraged by his sister's malicious actions against our daughter, Mateo immediately contacted his parents to voice his concerns. Despite the party being hosted at their residence, they were surprised to hear of Sienna's involvement, explaining her possible sneaky entrance through an unlocked back door. My mother-in-law expressed regret for overlooking the guests' arrivals and departures due to her preoccupations with other family duties, while my father-in-law had been occupied at work. The responsibility of organizing the event had largely been left to the younger family members. We later learned that a police officer had sternly cautioned Sienna, warning her of the severe consequences should such behavior persist. This intervention, though firm, left my in-laws troubled by the prospect of Sienna's actions escalating to criminal levels. In response, a family meeting was convened to address the situation, attended by all involved parties. Sienna and her husband arrived last, her demeanor indicating a lack of remorse and a palpable resentment towards me for involving the authorities. Her husband, seated beside her, seemed taken aback, having been unaware of the reason for the summons. As the discussion unfolded, he was confronted with the full scope of Sienna's actions for the first time, expressing his sincere apologies on her behalf. When prompted by my in-laws to speak, Sienna's indifference not really underscored her failure to grasp the gravity of her actions, or the need for an apology. She defensively argued that the absence of an arrest vindicated her, a logic that left everyone dumbfounded. This meeting laid bare the complexities of family dynamics and the challenges of navigating relationships strained by misunderstanding and misdeeds. It underscored the necessity of communication, understanding, and, when needed, intervention to maintain harmony and protect the well-being of family members, especially the youngest. Sienna stood there, claiming innocence with an argument that left everyone speechless. A perfect example of shock, so profound, it renders you unable to speak. The room was thick with disbelief at her reasoning, underscoring the futility of merely scolding her. In an unexpected turn, her husband, Sienna's Mateo, announced his intention to divorce her. This revelation stunned us all, from the outside. Their marriage had appeared stable and happy. Mateo disclosed that his patience had been eroding over the years, not because of any single grievance like neglecting housework or childcare, which he had initially attributed to the stress of new parenthood. Rather, it was Sienna's continuous pattern of vanity-driven decisions that pushed him to his limit. A minor house fire due to her negligence, her insistence on their son attending a prestigious kindergarten to keep up appearances, and the subsequent moves to salvage their social standing after each setback painted a picture of a life disrupted by the pursuit of image over substance. Their series of relocations, Mateo explained, wasn't solely due to his job, but also to accommodate Sienna's desire to maintain a certain facade, especially after their son didn't get into their first-choice kindergarten. Eventually, they settled for a public elementary school, a decision made for their son's happiness, which Sienna agreed to only after much persuasion from Mateo. He confessed that the prospect of their son's well-being being compromised for Sienna's vanity was his breaking point, especially now that her spiteful behavior towards our family had come to light. Sienna, taken aback by the sudden talk of divorce, scrambled to offer apologies, framing her actions as mere jokes gone too far, misguided attempts at humor not meant to be taken seriously. However, her pleas fell on deaf ears. The realization that what constitutes a joke hinges on mutual trust and understanding, something severely lacking in her actions, underscored the gravity of the situation. Her husband's decision to divorce was not a spur-of-the-moment choice, but the culmination of years of overlooked grievances and a final stand for their son's well-being and a healthier family dynamic. My daughter is fully aware of your actions and how they've affected me. It's unbelievable that she found humor in it, especially considering the threatening nature of your message. Such hostility would frighten even adults, let alone a child in 3rd grade. I confronted Mateo about his harsh critique of her behavior, questioning whether he would ever say such things to his own child. I pointed out that his actions were inconceivable for any parent. Not everyone who becomes a parent truly possesses parental instincts. Some people are simply not cut out for parenting. Upon seeing her tears, Mateo bluntly told her that crying wouldn't solve her problems at this stage in her life, and she should not expect sympathy to get her out of this situation. Yet, she cried harder, insisting on her innocence and questioning why she was the only one being blamed. She felt isolated, attributing the collective disapproval to her brother's decision to marry an older woman, mistakenly assuming that this should not affect judgments about her conduct and her own marital issues. Mateo was taken aback by her lack of understanding, and no one could console Sienna. The conversation had to be paused, and the meeting was eventually adjourned. Mateo had to escort a distraught Sienna back home. Their marriage, unfortunately, ended in a complicated divorce, largely due to her persistent denial and refusal to compromise. The situation escalated when their son, without any ill intentions, shared something he witnessed with his friends. This incident, spreading among parents, caused further uproar. Following a winter break, my nephew excitedly shared stories about a party with his older cousins at school, turning a classroom discussion into a showcase of holiday memories. This anecdote highlights how children innocently share experiences, oblivious to the complexities of adult conflicts and misunderstandings. During the holiday season, we celebrated with the exchange of gifts, and my nephew was thrilled to share stories about the new year and the video game consoles they received for Christmas. However, an incident occurred that left a deep impact on us. My mother gave my cousin a special gift, which I initially thought was unfair. When my nephew was asked to describe the gift he witnessed, his description of a damaged stuffed animal covered in what seemed like blood stirred concern among the school's teachers, eventually becoming a significant issue as the story spread among the parents. My daughter has been deeply affected by these events, unable to return to school since the party. Rumors circulated about her and her cousin's involvement in the incident, leading to unwanted speculation. Although the truth was indeed linked to the story, I had hoped the matter would not attract attention and that we could resolve it quietly, waiting for my daughter to feel ready to return to school on her terms. The story was not shared out of jest, but as a plea for help, highlighting the distress caused by his mother's harmful behavior. This revelation prompted Mateo to finally initiate the divorce proceedings, agreeing to her terms for a swift resolution. By then, she had become a notorious figure in the neighborhood, known for her intimidation tactics, which led to her being socially ostracized and even physically harassed. Determined to leave this turmoil behind and convinced that returning to her parental home would offer her a refuge, she agreed to the divorce, carelessly surrendering custody of her son with a callous remark about remarrying without the burden of children. In front of her son, she declared her indifference towards him, but he bravely countered her, affirming his preference for his father's care over her presence. Her departure was marked by a harsh exchange, with her son and Mateo dismissing her from their lives. She imagined a victorious return to her parents, only to be rejected and barred from entering their home, a painful consequence of her actions. Left with no support, she faced the harsh reality of her choices and the bridges she had burned along the way. In a challenging phase of her life, Sienna found herself in dire circumstances, resorting to desperate measures for basic needs like food and shelter. On nights when she couldn't secure a place to stay, she turned to borrowing money from unreliable and unsafe sources, leading to a spiraling accumulation of debt. Her financial burdens grew so heavy that no amount of odd jobs or part-time work could alleviate them, and eventually, Sienna vanished from her known life. Mateo and his family, upon facing this situation, chose not to pursue a missing persons report, rationalizing that Sienna, being an adult, had made her choices. They believed it was for the best, deciding they would not support her should she decide to return. This decision marked a turning point for my daughter, who has since been able to return to school independently. The absence of Sienna has surprisingly brought our families closer. Despite the upheaval, my daughter's former brother-in-law remained in the same area, ensuring that her cousin still goes to the same school. He has taken it upon himself to look after her, strengthening their bond and, by extension, the connection between our families. This newfound unity has seen us coming together, with my in-laws warmly embracing both my daughter and their grandson, stepping up as guardians whenever needed. With Sienna's departure, the lingering tension that once overshadowed our family interactions has dissipated, allowing us to forge a stronger, more trusting, and dependable family relationship. Our shared commitment to the well-being of our children has paved the way for a supportive and harmonious family environment.